Oh, right, well, we'll say. How are you all? This day of your time is your time to exist.
Good.
Perfect.
Perfect. Right.
Well, will you say begin with questions?
I have a question, Bashar. We have had a physicist in history, I believe it was Sir Isaac Newton, who said that for each action there's an equal and opposite reaction. Is that true in your culture?
All right, now understand that first of all, there will be many ideas and interpretations along that line as you understand that idea to exist. First of all, realize that we are, in very many ways, like you, I'll say, formed within the overall idea, I'll say, of physical dimensionality. Therefore, understand that to that degree, there will be within the expression of that reality as you know it, that action-reaction idea. Understand, however, that within terms, as you say, of what you would call to be our space technology, we utilize quite a different form of the understanding of the universe as you understand it, within its own, I'll say, flow of momentum, within its own sense of formation, within the idea of, I'll say, the viewpoint of the holographic, as you would say, version, or I'll say perspective of the universe as you know it. Therefore there will be, as within the usage of what you term to be your rocketry, in that terms with respect to what you term to be gravity, not so much of the usage of the action-reaction principle, but simply of the idea of the transformation or identification principle with regard to the locational property, I'll say, inhabiting and forming the idea of an object, and that object's existence within any what you term to be space or location within the universe at any particular point within that universe. Are you following me?
Somewhat.
All right, understand simply that in terms of what you call, I'll say, your immediate physical dimensionality, there will be that principle. Also, understand, there will be more that principle of action-reaction, mostly within, as you say, the metaphysical or non-physical universe, with regard to how you create your reality, understanding that for every action that you identify with, that you find yourself to be equal with, there will be the reaction of the creation of that universe round and about you. Do you follow me?
Okay, all right.
Understand that in terms of what you call physics, there will be action-reaction for every action. In a sense, there will simply be a manifestation or transformation of the reality according to the type of that action. But understand that to us, what you call action in many ways and reaction are quite the same act.
Yes, I get that. Can I ask you, also last week I asked you about why in 9 of our years, there will be a mass landing. And from what I understood your answer to be, we will be more on an equal plane or an equal level with you. Is that correct?
All right, you will be. At that time, then, understand, may not be mass as you understand mass landing, but I will say the opportunity will manifest to the degree to which you are willing to be equal to the vibration of that, I'll say, encounter between your mass consciousness and the mass consciousness of other civilizations. And at, I'll say, that time, therefore, being equal to that idea, you will be acting within that idea, and as such you will find the reaction will be the creation of that reality which will allow for that manifestation to take place.
Yes. So does that mean that in 9 of our years we will, to a great extent, be caught up to the gap that now exists, as you see it, of a 300-year gap?
Only in part. Understand there will be many ideas which at that time of the formation, I say, of the identification, the equalization of yourself with that idea to a degree, you will still be, in a sense, forming an equalization, an identification with still a portion of the mass consciousness as you understand it. You will be at, in your terms, the beginning of the ability to allow yourself then to create more of that understanding of your future self.
Mm-hmm.
You follow me?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Question.
On the mechanics of the space travel, you talked about one time of something rotating at 2.5 times the rotational rate of the Earth. Now, that would be a very slow rotation.
Yes.
I think once every 8 hours. Because the Earth rotates.
No. Understand that what is being described is a rotation approximately for your own planet of 2,300 times per, I'll say, your minute.
2,300 times a minute.
Which will be 2, in a sense, and 1/3 times the idea of your rotational speed about your axis, not translated literally. You follow me? In revolutions per minute, it will be that number representative of 2 1/3 times the rotational speed per your hour, equaling 1,000 in terms of your miles.
1,000 miles per hour? You mean the surface of the Earth goes at 1,000 miles per hour?
Yes.
Okay, so the outside of the device has to go at 2,300 miles per hour.
Per minute, not miles, revolutions. Simply understand that will be one phase of, I'll say, initiation. Realize there are many, many, many different levels of revolution per minute as you understand time that will accomplish different effects. Simply, you will find that that particular rotational speed at this time will relate primarily to your Earth crystal within a specific, I'll say in your terms, dynamic ratio, which will allow you to observe many of the effects that you need to observe within the beginning of your understanding of that particular effect. You will find as you allow yourself to expand your understanding that there will be opportunities for you in your terms to achieve rotational speed of many million times per your minute, depending upon the idea you wish to accomplish. You follow me? Understand simply that at the, I'll say, in your terms, slower rotation, you will be able to experiment with that idea that you have labeled, I'll say, anti-gravity. Understand that as you increase the rotation, and I'll say effect a combination of rotations within the various portions of a craft, I'll say sometimes to a degree within opposite rotation of certain components, you will find yourself creating variations within the field around and about that craft, which will be generated by that rotation, which will enable you not only to move about, as you say, within one dimensionality of your understanding, but within many different dimensionalities, including that which you call time. You follow me?
I think would it be a good idea to experiment with rotating conductors at 2,300?
Yes. Question.
Bashar, there's a belief among some people that there is a planet called Markab, and people called Markabians, who, the belief goes, are interfering with Earth, or manipulating Earth's affairs of different sorts in order to bring Earth into some kind of confederation, and they would be our sponsor or something like that, and something like that. Do you know anything about that?
Right, now allow me to say what you are perceiving, what those individuals are perceiving at this time. Simply, variation of your own consciousness, I would say, related to an incident which took place within your particular solar system many millions of your years ago. And as such, understand that there will be identification within many of the beings upon your planet at this time, as they have now allowed themselves to be here, in a sense, incarnated among you, as your own people, understanding themselves to be your own people, but understand there will be that drive of connection to simply, I'll say, recreate to a degree much of the negativity which occurred during the occurrence of the destruction of their own civilization. And as such, you will find there will be, I'll say, acting out, working out the idea, so that they may also come into tune with the cycle now prevalent upon your planet of, in a sense, forming a transformation along more positive lines. They will not influence you against your belief system in allowing yourself to be influenced in a negative way. Again, understand there are no victims. You cannot be controlled in that way except as you agree to be. You follow me?
Yes, I do. Thanks.
question.
I have a question.
All right, yes.
There's a scientific community on this planet right now that's very interested in studying cycles. And one of the cycles that's been documented is the effects that are created on this planet whenever there is a major radiation or explosion of some type on the sun. It's like it's actually been documented, the statistics and the findings of it, that it's like there's like this incredible peak of some sort, like the stock market goes way up. People are
all right, now understand to a degree, first of all, that within every idea of what you term to be your own domain, that is your solar system, there will be much in the same way as your own emotional attitude affect the weather of your planet. The correlation of the cycles between your psychic manifestations and your understanding of the cycles in which your mass consciousness is passing through, the various doorways, will manifest themselves for you seemingly outwardly in a manifestation of cycles which will have, in a way, partial control over your activities and your understandings of yourself. I'll say the ebb and flow, as you say, of your cycles of energy and expressive form. Understand to a degree. This is the basis for the formation of the tool you call astrology. Simply that you have extended your cycles outward and allowed your universe to reflect back to you that particular, I'll say, overlap of patterns which represent to you your particular, I'll say, psychic makeup within the cycles you have chosen to experience for your own mass consciousness in its unfoldment of its awareness of itself.
Okay.
You follow me?
I do.
Right, go ahead.
I agree anyway. The thing that I find peculiar about it or interesting about it is that these cycles this particular cycle has been occurring for a very long time, and it happens about every 4.26 something years. And I find that interesting. I mean, that like if you, as you say, that it's a degree of our consciousness, that it would occur every 4.26 years, not just more randomly than that.
Understand that to a degree. There will be many, many types of cycles which will overlap in that manner, forming as they will connections to different cycles within different levels of your consciousness. Understand, you will find there are cycles going on of which you have no, I'll say, conscious cognition at this time, being that your entire understanding of what you consider, I'll say, your own historical, I'll say, existence and civilization to be, will still be occurring in between patterns within this cycle. You follow me?
Sort of. In other words,
I'll say there are, in your terms, long-range cycles. So long in range in terms of time as you know time to exist, you have not recognized them as cycles. There are also, in your terms, short-range cycles, too quick to be perceived by, I'll say, the rate of vibration of your particular physical existence.
Okay, so in other words, we have set these in motion?
In a sense, understand that your entire, what you turn to be, universe, as you allow yourself to perceive the idea, is created at the moment of your own perception, and in accordance with not only your individual perception, but in accordance to that mass consciousness which you have agreed, I'll say, to form an overall universe with. You follow me?
Yeah, I do on that. Okay. I still don't quite understand about what the purpose of that cycle would be.
All right, now understand, again, that there will be, I'll say, within that particular cycle that you have referred to, the idea of allowing the self to attain certain, I'll say, physical manifestations, but in the attaining, to unlock the potential, to always understand at that moment that the attaining is only the being equal to, and as such, you may find that there will be, I'll say, tensions or stress, which will manifest whenever the idea of the attaining becomes equal to the idea of judgment. And as such, you will find that your cycle, in that way, will recreate those tensions or stresses which may manifest themselves in any way, shape or form that you term to be, I'll say within your structure at this time, economic in nature.
Okay, well, it's obvious to me that the awareness of this must be mostly subconscious, because
Yes.
most of the individuals around on this planet aren't aware that that's what's
Yes.
happening to them.
Understand that it is still, to a degree, a remnant cycle, representative of many, I'll say, remnant cycles, which represent certain ideas or tools which your civilization has created for itself. Understand that your cycles will find themselves shifting a little bit after you pass through your doorway of transformation into what you term to be your new understanding of yourself, your new age of yourself. You will find that many of these ideas will assume the tempo of your new vibratory rate, and as such you will perceive some of the cycles to shift.
Okay, I understand that.
Thank you.
I can see that.
Yes.
Well, I'm thinking of this concept of positive and negative, and understanding the fact that everything is unfolding as it should unfold. It seems like there's this shift in the overall game to integrate at this point, and it seems that the points that you're going, kind of, so to speak, channeling to, past points that you're channeling to, and that you consider negative, are points that you were sort of segregated in an attempt, with your new understanding in the here and now, to recreate that creation in a segregated manner. You understand that?
All right. What do you, I'll say, propose to do with this information as you wish to apply it towards your own physical life?
Well, that's what I'm doing now.
All right.
So that is one idea,
Thank you.
and I shared it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Allow yourself always to realize that you may unfold in whatever manner, again, seems most appropriate to that idea which you have created yourself to be.
Good.
Question.
I have two questions.
All right, all right.
Last night I spent a few hours with a friend of mine who's a well-known economist, and he was telling me that there's a rather major possibility of an economic depression about to happen in our country because of the national debt. Now, he says it will probably occur between the next 6 and 18 months. Do you foresee any change in that idea?
Are you asking me to make a prediction?
No, just any information you might have regarding that.
All right, understand then that to a degree that will shift and vary quite a bit more, I'll say, than your friend has perceived at this time. Understand that it will also represent another remnant cycle in which you will, I'll say, within the idea of 30 to 50 years of your time, allow yourself to understand that what you now perceive to be your monetary system will undergo quite a drastic shift. A little bit more towards the idea that we have expressed to you, a little bit, not a lot, a little bit more towards the idea we have expressed to you, that each individual and the service that they provide is in and of itself a guarantee of the stability of any interaction on an economic basis.
Yes.
What is your second question?
The 15th, we were supposed to go through a mass consciousness change on this planet, and I didn't perceive a whole lot of change going on.
All right. Perhaps that is because you assumed you were supposed to.
I did. I did. Did something happen I didn't know about?
You will know
When?
when you allow yourself to know. Again, understand that what you turn to be, that level of, I'll say, expectation in that way will always form the idea of a specific limited viewpoint. Do not, I'll say, feel that you are not in step with the entire mass consciousness and its own creation of that doorway through which it allowed itself to pass. but simply understand that you are still, I'll say, experimenting with many ideas of what you will turn to be specific focus for the unfoldment of your own purpose, and as such, understand that you have observed much of that transition in ways that will, I'll say, make themselves manifest within your reality in simply ways that you will allow them to, based upon your still, I'll say, expanding understanding of the purpose behind which you have created all of those different limitations of focus. Again, it's a matter of simply allowing yourself to know, without necessarily needing to analyze exactly what. That there will be an effect upon your reality if you simply allow yourself to identify with the idea of the effect, rather than needing to know the cause first.
Well, I don't want to know the cause necessarily.
All right.
I just want to see the realization.
You will.
When?
Questions?
I have a question on that.
All right, one moment. Yes.
Have you ever heard of a book called, or the concept of the law of one? It was there was a guy named Ra that channeled it, and there were some beings that I believe he talked about from Orion, and
We will discuss that later.
when?
Yes.
Dude, what Steve was speaking about, the question just before this one that was asked, does that effect have something to do with unity?
In the sense that there simply will be, with the creation of the limited focus, I will say, perception facing away from the direction of the integration of the self. And as such, there will be, with the creation of that specific focus, more of a reaction than an action involving the event itself. And as such, there will be more a move to what is perceived to be the outside of the self, that is, the physical universe, which seems to stem from outside the self, and as such, there will be, then, I say, the separation from the self and that integration, more towards the separation of self from that integration, therefore the reinforcement of the self within the time track, but without the perception of the momentum involved, and therefore the creation of the question, when? You follow me?
Yes. I didn't.
Would you like to explain to those individuals who did not follow?
Well, my perception of that is that with an exteriorization of oneself from the physical body, there will be the creation of a lot of movement in the physical universe and actual confusion by people who don't understand what's going on with themselves and their body. And there is actually a unity being created with beings getting to know themselves and that which they really are. But the confusion comes from being separated from the physical universe and that being new to them as an experience.
And the focus upon time.
Thank you. The focus upon time is part of the physical universe, and and brings people back, because that is like the focus upon time is an old method of telling a being where he is. Then that's like the one thing that he clings to orient himself.
Oh, right, very good.
And so he comes back to that and says, when? So that he has a point of reference.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Understand that your understanding of that idea took place without time. You follow me? You simply understood it. You knew. The feeling involved, that you are perfectly oriented within the also equality of the vibration of the idea we were discussing. You follow me?
Thank you. Yes. It feels wonderful.
Yes. Exciting.
Very, very much.
Thank you. And understand then that that excitement, once again, is your physical signal that you are channeling equally the vibration of the idea in which you are immersed.
Great. Yes, I felt that as well.
Therefore, understand that if you are channeling that vibration, that excitement of that idea, and you are, in your words, therefore in tune with that idea, then that idea becomes your reality. Really, without regard to having to pay attention to exactly when. Since you feel it to be right now. Again, it is the same idea as when you attempt, I would say, to impose the idea of what you perceive to be purpose upon all that is. Simply, all that is does not need a purpose, since it already is, and comes before the idea of purpose in your terms of before and after.
That's right.
Therefore, the question of purpose, like the question of time, of when, simply is a separation from the initial knowing state of the self that it is already right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, with regard to, as you say, the idea of Orion energy, you will find that there are many ideas being undertaken at this time with respect again to the idea of the fulfillment of your cycle and the integration of what you term to be positive and negative energy, so that you may make your transformation in a positive way this time, rather than the negative choice that was made last time, so as to fulfill the completeness and the polarity of the cycle. To a degree, some of the ideas expressed within that work that you have mentioned through the ideas you call raw will exemplify the acting out of being the valve which will channel both the positive and negative light and allow them to be viewed in a way by your consciousness at this time, so that you may integrate the two in a way, I will say, beneficial for the overall transformation energy now being expressed by your mass consciousness at this time. Question.
I have a statement.
All right.
It's just a basic reality that I not only understand, but I live. And it has to do with the economic situation that Steve was talking about. There is various ideas about what the economy does or doesn't do, or is or isn't. And if you will look back on past history, you know, those things.
Whose?
Well, I'll say of this particular civilization.
All right.
Thank you. There have been times whenever, you know, the quote, the bottom has fallen out, and it's been, we've had depressions and all. But during those times, there have always been individuals who it didn't affect.
All right.
And that will continue to be the case. It's the ones who
You mean in a negative way, as you perceive it?
Yes, they don't. It's like they didn't lose anything.
Realize no one does.
Right, but it's like the suffering of losing everything and having a depression didn't fit any need that they had.
All right, understand something else. However, what you term to be depression or losing everything, as you say, reaching the bottom of your barrel. When you reach that idea, then you realize in the creation of that idea, having, I'll say, nothing left. All the way down, as you say, at the bottom. Nowhere to go. No way out. Now, realize that that may be your first impression. But really, when you arrive at that point, you have, at that moment, completely unlimited options. Because every single option is equally viable.
Right. Yes.
You follow me?
Oh, I sure do.
And therefore, there will be that analogy within those, as you say, depressions, to what you term to be emotional depression, where you withdraw within yourself to go where you know the answers must really be. To allow yourself to reach that zero rest point where every option is equally valid. And then when you re-emerge, you are quite a different person, having realigned yourself to a completely new reality. One which you now have given yourself the opportunity through the experiencing of that depression to try, because when you have reached that point, you finally realize the validity of, well, why not?
That's a beautiful expression, Bashar.
I enjoy that.
Yes, you have created a beautiful, creative way to experience many ideas, which you initially judge to be negative, but again, look at the results and where it has taken you.
Yes, right. Thank you. I really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
The what I was expressing didn't particularly have something to do with that, although I loved what you said. What I was saying was that economists often get in the idea that this particular thing of depression or whatever is going to affect everyone, but you can see that there are people who are not affected by it negatively.
Each reality will always maintain its own reality.
Right. Yeah. I have a question. Bashar, does that mark then the end and the beginning of a new cycle, as you see it?
One time.
Uh-huh.
And within those individuals who choose to experience the reality of that cycle.
Right.
Again, there will be many different cycles overlapping even within your overall mass consciousness, and individuals may or may not feel the effects of a cycle as strongly as another individual. Because that is not their reality.
Right. I have another question. Can you describe what it's like when you talk about being everywhere instantly, yet being completely still?
All right, now, simply again realize that for the purpose of the feeling of your own creativity, we may simply use the analogy to describe the effect of yourself at the zero rest point, of yourself as the creator. In the sense that you have created space and time, and therefore the idea of movement within space and time, then you have created the idea of what we may term to be infinite momentum. And if you are everywhere at once, being, I'll say, having infinite momentum, then you are also at the same time standing perfectly still, since you are already everywhere that you need to be. Simply understand that to a degree from time to time there will be back and forth some physical effects emotionally within you that represent either of these two polar views of yourself. Within both, you may simply always be assured that in the creation of these polar, I'll say, shiftings back and forth between the idea of very rapid momentum and pure, peaceful stillness within yourself, that they are expressions, in a sense, both in their own way, of the vast creativity with which you are channeling to create your reality. And as such, again, within every idea expressed as a polarity, you will always find yourself exactly at the center of that creation, therefore always reminding you within your physicalness that you are always projecting from the center of yourself, and that in reality you never really go anywhere. You follow me?
Yes, I do.
Question.
Ellen?
All right.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
The physical universe is such that we currently are aware of is like many galaxies. You know, it's just quite magnitude of the sort. And this little planet here is just one teensy little part of it in the all that it is. Now, this planet you said was like a particular important point for some other dimensions at this time.
Okay.
And there's like a triad of a sort going on here with your planet, Sirius, our planet, and maybe some others. But I just happened to sort of expand my awareness, and this isn't obviously the only place that this sort of thing is going on, not with all of those other beings and planets and everything else. Are you aware of any communication with other similar situations?
Understand that to a degree, as you say, my counterpart and myself are involved, as with all counterparts, I'll say within our civilization become involved with the idea of communication. You will find there will be, I'll say, a triad formed between ourselves and 3, as you say, channels upon 3 different planets for every counterpart pair that chooses to be, in a sense, in the position of transmitting. Therefore, understand that there are several counterpart pairs upon our planet, and as such, each of them will be involved with 3 different planets.
Not necessarily in this galaxy. Is that true?
Understand that our understanding of ourselves and our interactions will include, in your terms, portions of 5 galaxies.
Okay.
Question.
I have something. You know, you were talking about that you will perceive stress if I think something like the pressure of transformation is going on with judgment. If you're having judgment on that pressure of transformation,
Yes.
then you'll perceive it stressful. Yeah, I'd like a little more comment on judgment. I think it's related to this other thing that I've noticed, which is I used to have more of a viewpoint of down into the problems, you know, and then you have problems and then you can keep yourself busy with them for a long time.
Oh, yes.
And keep yourself very interested that way.
Right.
So, but I'm not doing that, so, you know, it's like you just look at poof and you decide to get in communication with any entity and it's poof, and, you know, everything's poof, and then in between the poof, you know, you're sitting there going, now what, you know, what am I going to do next? And, something to do with that, you know, I feel perfectly fine as me, but then I don't know that as my focus as a human being, I feel the desire to have more, you know, fewer spaces between my lines, you might say.
All right, now understand again. This will be created, yes, from the viewpoint of judgment, of separation.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, understand, as you say, that in between your active poofs, there simply are quiet poofs.
Yeah, good.
You understand?
Yes, I do.
Therefore, do not judge that your active poofs are more valuable than your quiet poofs.
Right.
You will then find that there will be an entire, as you say, string of creation going on within those quiet poofs.
Yeah.
If you allow yourself to listen.
Uh-huh.
Understand also that to some degree there will be that opportunity, as long as you choose to remain within the physical universe, to use those quiet times to be reflective, and as such allow yourself to create your sense of your past, to which you may react. You follow me?
Yeah, to some degree. Well, I mean, I follow what you're saying. I don't...
All right, understand that in terms of what we have said with regard to the idea of action, then for you there is the analogy that action creates your future, reaction creates your past.
I guess, you know, one reason I might be bored with that
All right, why?
is that because I'm so complete on the past. I mean, I don't feel
Oh,
need
really?
past. Yeah.
Right? But understand that every time you change your reality, you are changing your past as well.
Oh, that's interesting.
Understand that there is no time.
Yeah, I
You
know.
are right here and right now.
Right.
Every idea that you create within the idea of the past comes from right here and right now. And your reality will reflect exactly what you consider yourself to be at any given moment in time, as you know time to exist. Therefore, understand that your entire reality, the projection from your present, of your past, and your future, will always reflect exactly what you see yourself to be right here and right now. So as you change right here and right now, your entire reality track will shift with you.
That's very good. Yeah, I don't think I was letting the past one, you know, I just kind of had it sitting there. I wasn't letting it change.
All right. Again, many times then that will be the reason, if you do not let it change, why that idea can become a problem.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
And as such, then those reflective ideas will become, or will seem to become, I'll say, containing nothing.
Right.
Nothing of value.
Yes. Yes.
That would be very instructive.
Yes.
That was very helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions?
So in fact, the past, present, and future are equally significant and
Are
work
all
together.
also equally right now.
Yes. So I'm interested in going way back into my past
Why?
to understand,
You cannot.
to know.
You are only right here and right now. You cannot go into your past.
Not go, integrating all.
Why do you feel it is not integrated?
Oh, I do feel it's integrated, and
Are you sure?
and sometimes I don't.
All right. Why do you feel that you wish to come, I'll say, in touch with ideas that you are now creating from your present to be in your past? All right, very good. Understand that you have a little bit of a block with that idea. Now understand the reason. Understand that as you perceive, I'll say, the need, as you create the need to understand your present self in terms of viewing your past, you are creating right now from your present self all those ideas and projecting them into your past so that you remove them from your present in a way that you find acceptable to view. Still allowing yourself to be comfortable with the idea that you may discover something in your past that will lend insight into that desire of that reality which you really wish your present to be but are not yet quite willing to allow it to do so.
I am very willing. I am actually very willing.
All right, but understand that you are creating a little bit of the idea that without that idea projected away from your present and into your past, you will not be complete as you are. You follow me?
You're saying it. I'm not.
Do you follow me?
I do follow you.
Understand that everything that you are is right here with you right now. Now, I am not saying there is anything wrong in the idea of experimenting with many different ideas of yourself within the idea you call the past and understanding yourself in that way. Simply understand that you have the ability right now to simply know the entire effect of yourself and know that that entire effect is complete in and of itself. If you truly believe that discovering that idea of yourself in the past will allow you to be what you wish to be in the future, understand simply that you are creating a scenario for yourself to discover yourself within that purposeful limitation that you have created of your viewpoint by creating the idea of time so that you may experience yourself in an acceptable way that can be absorbed into your present and so allow yourself to identify with the future right here and right now that you want to create for yourself. Understand that also, as long as you allow any idea that you wish to be right here and right now to exist in the future, that is also where it will stay in the future. Just as any idea of yourself in the past will stay in the past and not be allowed to integrate within your overall idea of yourself in the present. Therefore, explore all you want, but understand that it will always lead you back to the understanding that you have that right now. Now, what do you wish to explore?
The very beginning of all universe.
What beginning? All that is. And at every point in time, as time was created, within all that is, it was always possible and is always possible and always will be possible to simply say that. All that is.
All right. Okay.
Now, what do you feel about the idea expressed in your, I'll say, terminology as a beginning? What do focused so that you will be focused on one idea at a time. That does not mean you cannot simply know within you that you have the effect of all the portions of yourself operating simultaneously to reinforce each and every one of those, I'll say, limited focuses that you experience at any one time. And as such, you do not have to worry about losing anything. And when you allow yourself to know that idea and that effect is always equal to you, no matter what you allow yourself to experience, no matter what limitation of focus you create for yourself, you will always again find yourself re-emerging from that limitation with a broader sense and understanding, a more integrated version of you. And as such, you will always allow, therefore, the momentum of yourself to always go forward in terms of time as you know it to exist. And you will increase your momentum by simply allowing. Realize you don't have to make anything happen. You have to make an idea stay the same way. All of creation, within all of creation, the only constant is change. And if you simply allow creation to be what it is, allow yourself to be what you are, you will always change.
Right.
That is why you don't have to make anything happen, but allow it to happen. You have to make something stay the same. And that is the creation through your judgment of what is going to be a problem, which is simply an idea you will not allow to change shape. Anything. But again, do not judge yourself even in the resistance. You will be compounding your artificiality. Understand that if you have created the idea, you created it for a purpose, concurrent with the idea of the exploration of yourself within this dimensionality. And as such, if you do not judge those particular viewpoints of yourself and understand that they serve a purpose, then they will also be allowed to change. And you will always move.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you. Once again, understand that within the idea of expressing, as you say, a question, you may now understand that too has been of service to you within the, I'll say, maintenance of the idea of the separation from the knowledge from yourself. But now simply understand that if you can ask the question, you have already made the change. Otherwise you will not even perceive there is a question to ask. You follow me?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Question.
I have a question. When I put my attention on somebody, I'm there with them. I'm either being able to visualize and see them, or I just know how it is with them.
Right.
Sometimes my body will manifest also. Like I have been told sometimes I've appeared two places at the same time,
Yes.
aside from where my body actually is. And I do this when I love people deeply, and I want to know how it is, and I get there with them, and I know how it is with them. But what my question is how does my body materialize, and they see the body? I mean, like I've got three bodies then, and I get confused about it.
All right. Now, first of all, allow yourself to know that since you are doing this quite naturally, there is no reason to be confused. Simply understand it is a natural expression of your creative love. And as such, will tell you in no uncertain terms that you are all that is and do exist everywhere at once. Therefore, simply understand that you are able to create your own counterpart selves in that way, each having equal validity, because simply the only idea to you which is important is simply the exchange and not the how.
That's true.
Therefore, understand that since you are not standing in your own way, you are more than able to manifest that portion of your reality for yourself at whatever location or idea it needs to be manifested to be experienced, simply because it is the experience to you which is of overriding importance and not the how am I going to experience it. So you are very creatively allowing those doorways to be opened for your, I'll say, recreation of that idea of yourself at all those various points of interaction. Since you already exist everywhere there is to exist anyway, why not?
I've got it. I can see now. I manifest the body when it's necessary for the person to see the body.
Yes.
Thank you. I just cognited on it.
Also understand that if they perceive it, it is because they have agreed to share that manifestation and for themselves create their version of the manifested form that they perceive.
Right. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. And very loving of yourself.
Okay.
Question.
I have a question.
All right.
This is actually not a question. It's
Very good.
okay. It's something that occurred this week. I was sitting in the bathtub and just sort of just being there and enjoying my transformation. And I thought about something that's been occurring now for a couple of weeks, and I talked to 2 other people who said they have experienced the same thing. And the thing that it is that I communicate with you, this idea that I have of you, who you are, quite often independent of these sessions, okay? And it's like, it definitely has your flavor. You know, you speak of flavor, okay? And, it's like, and at first I kind of questioned this, and I went, well, it's probably me doing this, talking to myself. Well,
all right. Well, there's nothing wrong with that, and nothing less powerful about that.
I know.
Right.
Okay, I'll go on. Okay, and then I thought, well, there's nothing wrong with that. That was my and even if I'm creating it, does it matter? If you're creating it, it doesn't really matter. It's like it's spontaneous, and it's like the things that come across often are things that I wasn't thinking of or didn't know would be there, and it's been really wonderful.
Very good.
Yes. Okay. And so I was sitting there going, God, that's great. I love it. Now I want to give you something. I want to exchange something with you. I know. And here's the thing that I did. I thought, well, it's like you're into being you're a teacher more or less. Now I know. I'm using a term. It's just semantics. It's like you're being here, allowing us to teach ourselves. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Now, and we're all teachers.
Yes.
Okay. Now, the thing that I realized is that there is this aspect of me that's like it's like an inquisitiveness, a childlike inquisitiveness. I love everything. I want to know everything. It's just magic and exciting for me.
Very good.
And I thought, this is what I can share with you in all of your civilization. I don't have to consciously be there and do it. I can give you that portion of myself that exists, and I can just give it to you, and it can be integrated with you and your civilization. And any time that you feel the need to do that or use that tool, it can be me and have my flavor.
In your terms, no words. But we will use your words of thank you.
It's been an absolutely wonderful experience.
Yes, it has. Us as well. And understand that you are creating your own idea of us. We are creating our own idea of you. But in the creating and sharing of each other, there is then by agreement that interaction should take place. And so on that level, then you may understand it is a true interaction.
Right.
Allow us to say that we love you very much for your willingness to share within your universe all that you can be with yourself. And as such, then simply being the type of universe which we may also create within our reality to share.
Great.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks. One other little thing that I want to share with everyone is the more transformation that I'm making. It's a word. I'm just using a word, but it's like there's the aspect of communicating with this idea that I have of Bashar and his civilization and others as well. There is also something that occurred this week that I found absolutely wonderful and fascinating, and it was that I began to communicate with this other consciousness. And I was startled because this consciousness had my flavor. And I was going, oh, that's interesting. It's like I'm talking to me, and I well maybe it's my higher consciousness, but it has my flavor, and so I just look at that as a part of the transformation and allowing myself to become more integrated with myself. And
Very
it's
good.
quite beautiful. That's right.
Then you understand what your own empowerment feels like.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, I had a question about vacation.
Do you feel tired?
Yes, I do, and I want to know, like, I know creating this tiredness, but then I learned that sleeping less, because I like to do things that
All right. Are you forcing yourself to stay awake? All right. Are there times within your schedule that you would rather sleep but feel that you cannot?
Right. We get it.
Do you think that with your creative imagination you may be able to rearrange your schedule so that you may be able to sleep when you want to?
That's too easy.
Question.
I feel an energy that I've not felt before. I've never experienced you before, and somehow I recognize that something is affecting my right side. I don't know if that has anything to do with anything, and I don't have a specific question. But I just wonder if, because you can see a lot, if there is anything that you can tell me that I want to know without really knowing what I want to know.
Very creative, roundabout way of Allow yourself to feel that you have created the energy within your universe to experience on purpose of your own unfoldment, which you will be more than aware of if you simply allow yourself to go along for the ride for now. All right?
Yes. I think so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You will find a few surprises. Question.
I have a question.
All right.
Can you explain a little bit more about what you mean by hyper-consciousness?
To a degree, you might understand that what we term to be hyper-consciousness is that state of mass consciousness within full realization of its connection to every other mass consciousness within all that is. You follow me?
Yes, I do.
Question.
Would that have anything to do with synergy?
Only in a sense.
Okay. I have another question as well. Can you give me some insight as to the significance of the hawk as a symbol?
Now, if that symbol has significance to you, you tell me. Since that is a very personal creation for yourself, although there are mass-conscious versions of that symbol yet. But it is within your universe, and obviously personal to you. You are empowered, you tell me. What does it make you feel like? How have you created that symbol to represent that portion of your own consciousness to yourself?
I guess it's just showing up to me every time I sit down at the typewriter and telling me to write. Okay.
Why?
That's a good question.
Thank you. Do you have a good answer?
No.
Oh, really? I don't believe you.
I'm not sure if I have something to say or somebody else has something they...
Oh! You have something to say. Realize I am not forcing you. It is right there. You are aching to share yourself.
Okay.
Be willing to know that every idea that you are is quite valid, quite beautiful, quite creative. I'll say quite instructive, and quite a learning experience for many other individuals and for yourself as well, if you allow it to be so. Please, always feel free to share of yourself. You will be reinforcing that way the overall, I'll say, conviction that you have of your own reality, and exactly how your reality merges and blends and integrates within the overall mass conscious reality of the transformation taking place at this time. Be creative, be bold. you. Go ahead.
Why did I need someone to say do it? That's great, thank you.
You told yourself. Now, again, realize that since you have recognized you have created a tool of another consciousness telling you what you already knew, then simply you can manifest that idea for yourself and be equal to that idea from now on by yourself. And that will allow you more than enough opportunity to share your truly complete self with other individuals. Not that you will need to, but that you will desire to.
That's great.
Question?
Yes.
I understand what you're saying about all that exists is in the now. However, from the human experience, perhaps, let's say I were put under drugs and hypnosis and told that I was a different person than who I was, say, perhaps in modern American experience, Korean brainwashing.
All right.
Now, if I were still under the influence of, say, Korean brainwashing, would it not be necessary for me to look into the past somewhat? From a human, how do I get out of it?
Now, all right, you are giving me a what if. Allow me to ask you, what if you had never created this experience in the first place?
Well, what I already did.
Right. All right, thank you. Why did you create this experience for yourself?
Why would I have? Well, I was perhaps a soldier and got captured, and they wanted to turn me into a...
No. Not what were the circumstances of the creation.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Don't know.
Are you sure?
Well, perhaps I was playing soldier and I got...
All right, very good. You were playing soldier. Very good. Now, what aspects of yourself do you feel fulfilled by the idea of having played soldier?
Well, I'm making this hypothetical situation,
Oh.
so I really don't...
We said it was real, did we not?
Okay, I'll play it. Okay.
All right. Realize that if I say what if, you say, oh, it is real. If I say it is real, you are saying, well, what if? Now, it is up to you. Simply, if you wish, you may simply understand the reason for the creation of this reality, and therefore, I'll say, save yourself the time and effort of going through the entire brainwashing experience. Again, also simply understand that every reality, every situation will be in and of itself its own idea, created for very specific purposes according to the idea of the unfoldment of the self. Now, if you choose to create a situation in which you, I'll say, extricate or change your situation by reviewing your past self, then fine. That is one creation. But again, simply understand that that creation will lead you to other creations where you do not need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, for yourself, then, there may have been purpose in that reality, and perhaps for many other individuals as well. But again, that is your reality. Allow yourself simply to unfold your reality as you have allowed it to unfold. And experience what you experience. And if you do not like it, make another experience.
Like to be able to do that in the human experience at all times.
You
Except
are.
that's what, okay.
Again, you are always in control, even when you create for yourself a situation in which it seems you are out of control. And since you know you have created that situation in which it seems you are out of control, you can simply know that you have created it, and therefore you are totally in control of it, and you can get on with your life. You follow me?
I follow you. I don't think I can apply it immediately, but I'll
No.
think about it.
You will not apply it if you think about it. That is right. It will be up to you again when you wish to truly apply it. Realize that the only process that you need is simply life itself. Live, experience, do, feel, act, be. Then you will change and continue to do so. Will be up to you. Will not matter one way or the other. You are indestructible. You are always all that is. You always will be. Will not make any difference. Whatever, what if you wish to play. Ultimately, you will always still be right here and right now. thank you. Question.
I'm sorry.
All right. You first.
Well, in ordinary circumstances, I could understand what you just said so well, but
In ordinary
yes,
circumstances.
but lately, sorry to be so personal, but I have been.
I do not have to apologize to me.
Well, I've been in a lot of, to me, pain. And I'm not used to it. I'm not used to having pain that I can't immediately dismiss. And this has not gone away.
Where?
In my back and in my left arm, my lower back. It's something to do with muscles and things like that, I think.
You mean tension?
It may be caused by tension, but I'm not even sure. I've looked at everything and I've tried everything.
Everything?
But
Have you
everything
tried the one thing that may take it away?
Tell me what it is.
Thought you had tried everything.
Well, everything that and this has also lowered my awareness, so I can't
really?
conceive of anything. But it seems to me so.
Are you sure you have chosen to lower, I'll say, or restrict your awareness based upon the reasons for which it may be happening?
I could have, but I'm not aware of...
All right. Maybe not. Now, allow me to say, first of all, how does not the pain make you feel? But, simply, when you first perceive the pain, very first perception of the pain, how did you feel just prior?
Well, my arm, I don't quite remember.
Do not remember?
No.
What about just before the pain in your back?
I only remember when it occurred. I guess tired.
Tired? Tired of what?
I guess it was walking around buying Christmas presents or something like that.
All right. Was it for you a cycle of repetition?
Not really, not of repetition.
Why were you tired? Are you sure? Nothing mysterious about this. Why were you tired? Can be for very simple reasons. What kind of tired?
Oh, it could have been that I was tired of life.
Why?
Boredom.
Boredom! Well, all right. Was it a very boring boredom or a very creative boredom?
Must have been a very boring boredom.
Was it a creatively boring boredom?
Don't know.
Why? Now, do you feel that in all that walking around, that you were walking uphill?
Not physically, but I suppose mentally or spiritually.
All right. Do you feel then that you were more mentally, or as you say, spiritually tired than really having any reason to be physically tired?
I think it was a combination of both because I wasn't getting...
All right. You are not getting much sleep. All right. Do you feel that the sleep that you were, as you say, getting was relaxing you? Or was it also very boring to be asleep?
No, not boring to be asleep.
Was it boring to wake up?
Yes, probably. Yes, I guess it was. Yes.
All right. Which arm?
My left arm.
All right.
That happened rather recently.
Are you equal in pain in your back on one side?
No, it's more on my left side than my right side.
The same as your arm?
Yes.
Allow me to ask you a question. Are you now tired of being bored?
At this very moment, no.
You still
Oh,
enjoy
tired of
boredom?
being bored.
Yes.
Oh, Well, I'm just not bored.
You are not bored.
Not at this very moment.
Right, then you must have been tired of being bored.
Oh, all right.
Until you decide that you wish to be bored again.
Oh, dear.
I am not saying you will be. Simply, but if you are not bored, then you must have decided to change your mind and be something other than bored.
Oh, okay.
Yes or no?
Yes.
All right. What are you then? If you are not bored right now.
Interested.
In what?
Hopeful.
What?
I just said a cuss word,
Do you understand the idea behind hope?
If you hope something will happen, then you're not positive it will happen.
Very good.
Okay.
It implies that you are sending your energy towards the despair that you feel it will not happen.
I see.
And that is the reality that you create. Despair. Now, despair can become very tiring.
Yes.
How do you feel right now?
I feel so much better.
How is your arm?
The pain is still there, but it doesn't bother me.
Very good. What about your back?
Well, I don't feel anything in my back, so
all right.
that's good.
You went away?
But it comes and goes anyway, but right now I
Why does it come and go when you change your mind about being bored or interested?
It must have something to do with boredom.
You think so?
Yes.
You suppose it could be?
Could be.
Does your imagination tell you that that feels right? Now, do not listen to me. My opinion means nothing.
But despair came closer to it.
All right. But that is when the boredom is there. What about when the boredom is not there? Then, what are you feeling? Interest? Excitement? Little bit lighter? Little bit more of, I'll say, life?
Oh, yes.
All right. Now, do you suppose that there is any reason, really, that you cannot continue to experience life in the way that you wish to, rather than assuming that you must always from time to time be bored? Do you recognize the pattern within the questions that have been asked today about the idea of the still time in between what you perceive to be the active times? The idea that being still is not being creative. Where did you ever create that idea?
Or why ever.
All right. But still, without judgment, understand that much of your society is experiencing, I'll say, a transition out of that idea at this time.
Yes.
Now, allow yourself to know, simply also, that you are experiencing some, I'll say, friction then within yourself, within the idea that your imagination is trying to come through those quiet times, allowing you then to make those quiet times not boring, but quietly exciting.
Right.
And understand that the friction of your imagination attempting to fight its way through the wall of limitation and despair and judgment that you have placed upon, I'll say, that side of your brain represented by the right side of your brain will control and create the friction within the left side of your body. You follow me?
Yes, that makes a lot of sense.
Then simply allow your imagination to be real. And when you find yourself in times of quiet reflection, allow yourself to very, very quietly become excited about all the imaginative ideas which seem to blossom within those quiet sides of your brain, within those quiet moments of time, and understand that you are listening to that current of yourself and connecting into all that you are.
That's great.
You follow me?
Yes. Thank you.
Oh no, thank you. Again, you may simply understand that the asking of the question represents the containment of the knowledge already. You follow me?
Yes.
And as such, you are already transformed in that way. Now, understand that you are creating a new habit, and as such, you will find that from time to time you may feel still little tiny twinges of pain. It will be all right. Allow them simply to act in the purpose for which they have been created, and that is simply to remind you that you may once again simply allow your imagination and your life and your laughter to take over and become the reality that you truly wish to experience, and understand that boredom for you is an old idea, an all right idea, but an old idea.
Yes. Okay.
Feel free to laugh within your boredom anytime you feel like it. And say, oh, what a creative boredom I have made. I am so creative. At being bored, I astonish myself. I should tell somebody to place me in the public light for the creation of boredom. That's what I do. You want to know how to be bored? I can show you. And realize that as soon as you begin to play with your boredom, you will not be bored. And you will quite quickly go on to something else. Again, realize that when you create that ideal depression for yourself, you are really going to where you know the answers are for what you need to unfold of yourself, since you are not outside yourself, but within. And when you re-emerge, you will be realigned with a new idea, a new vibration. You will be a new idea, a new vibration, and as such, you will be a new you.
Wow.
Now, you might take a very creative break. Thank you. Oh, right! I was right! Question. All right. Yes.
On alternate universes, if I want to go my own way, and I think I keep thinking that other people have to do it with me. I mean, it's like if I want to sell my house, for instance, which I am trying to do right now, I want to get a certain price for it. Say next week at a certain time, I want to set it up and run the whole universe that way.
One moment. Understand that I am not saying that is not possible. But, simply, really, in the overall idea of experiencing that reality, if you stop to think about it, there is really no need for many of the specifics that you insist upon in order to still achieve the overall effect according to your own satisfaction. Understand that there may be many variables within that circumstance that will still lead to you feeling that you have created the situation in exactly the proper way for you. And as such, simply, it is not that you have to think about every specific idea or function or step or method within the overall idea of the situation. Many times, even what you perceive to be an overall situation may in and of itself really be a method to an even greater idea that you are not allowing yourself simply to be. Rather than understand that if you have as a single idea, as you say, the idea of selling your house, and this is what excites you, beyond any other idea that you could unfold within yourself at the time, then simply understand that if you simply become that idea, feel, be, and act as if that idea has already taken place within your here and now present reality, you will attract exactly all of those individuals and facets of those individuals within your reality that will be more than willing to share that reality with you and allow you to experience that portion of your reality in that way for the best benefit of all concerned, and allow themselves to experience their reality in exactly the same way. Now understand that if the selling of your house, as you say, is, I would say, a step within the overall understanding of another even greater idea of which you are even more excited, then you do not have to be even concerned about the idea of needing to sell your house to achieve that idea. Realize that the selling of your house is a portion of the best possible way to achieve that even greater idea, then that is what will happen. But if it is not, if there is, I'll say, a better way in your terms to achieve the overall idea, then you will not necessarily need to sell your house. And if you simply focus upon the idea of only selling your house in order to achieve the greater idea, you will be shutting the door on the better idea. Just as in the idea of selling your house, if that is the greatest idea which excites you at the time, then completely needing to, I'll say, orchestrate the exact method by which that takes place may be shutting the door on an even better method. You follow me?
Yeah, that doesn't answer the question about the fact that other people have to go along with it.
They do not have to go along with you. Understand that within the interaction of all that is, all possibilities take place, and every individual contains all the facets necessary to interact within any reality of any one individual that can take place. Therefore, understand that what you perceive as individuals who seem to be going along with your newly created reality are simply the facets of those individuals which are already experiencing that reality with that facet of you that is creating that reality. It is not that they are going along with anything, except that they are also partaking of that reality even as you allow your own consciousness to focus into that facet of yourself. They are already there in that way, just as you are already there in that way. And that's why I'll say it is only a matter of realigning your perspective and observing your reality through another facet of yourself, in which you will find all the facets of all the other individuals already existing which need to accomplish that idea. Realize that every idea, every situation already contains all the ingredients necessary for the unfoldment of that idea, except when you step in and make the separation between yourself and that idea. And assume that you must struggle to create that idea, that you must build piece by piece exactly how that idea is to manifest. You are an automatic creator. You need not think about the path in order to achieve the effect, cause and effect. You may simply create the effect, and nature yourself as the automatic creator will supply with more than enough cause to support the effect. You will simply be in tune with all that is in terms of the facets of all the consciousness and all the individuals which are already partaking of that idea into which you now find yourself tuning in. You follow me?
Yes.
Thank you. Question?
Yes, I had a stepfather who left his body a couple of years ago, and last month, for some reason, I keep thinking about him. I'm wondering now.
Some mysterious reason.
No, I just want to know how he is.
Oh, he's fine. How are you?
I'm fine too.
Oh, really?
Well, there are things I'm handling.
Why? You are fine. Understand that idea to you, to a degree, represents some of the transformation through which you are now allowing yourself to pass. And as such, that will be a symbol for you of the idea of transformation from one level of reality to another, the changing of perspective, the changing of point of view, which is all death really is. Do you follow me?
I do, but I don't know if that's answering the question. How is my attention on him a transformation for me?
Now, really, that is quite a very, very obvious symbol. Again, understand that the transformation from what you consider to be, or say, life into death, will represent exactly the idea of the death of a portion of yourself and the rebirth in another understanding of yourself. You follow me?
No, actually, I didn't get the last part of what you said.
Right. Understand that the idea of your own transformation, you are simply looking to the idea of another transformation, which represents symbolically to you the idea of your own transformation from one life to another type of life.
I see.
As you allow yourself to open your own inner awareness doorways, you will simply begin to relate, in your terms, vibrate more equally with the level of reality, in a way into which individuals allow themselves to shift upon what you term to be physical death.
Yeah, but listening to you made me think of what my attention is on. And see, he wasn't a real. He thought he was the body. He didn't realize he was a spiritual being. So I'm concerned.
What does that have to do with your reality?
Nothing. I'm just wondering if there's some way I can help him if he's in need of help.
Realize he is not helping you. Acting as a guide to assist you in leading you towards that portion of understanding of yourself which he now realizes to be the case. You follow me?
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
So, when we do all of us, in fact, reincarnate then as transformed selves? And if so, where does it occur on your planet?
You do not have to reincarnate if you do not desire to.
So,
there are many forms of incarnation which may take place upon your planet, which may take place in other civilizations, which may take place, in a sense, in other dimensions of reality. Understand that everything that you consider to be an incarnation in that way occurs simultaneously, since there is no time. Also understand that within your terms of time, there are many simultaneous incarnations even upon your planet at this time.
Can you repeat that again?
There are many simultaneous incarnations. I'll say, do you understand the idea of counterparts?
Yes. In other words, am I to understand that there are different dimensions of myself at this point?
All right, now. Allow yourself to understand that you are an overall consciousness. And that, much in the same way, that as you say your fingers are connected to your hand, you project extensions of the overall self into different ideas of reality, from the one level of reality represented by your whole soul self. Many times, these fingers or extensions will, in a sense, align their vibration with areas within physical reality that to you will be perceived as past or future. Many times, there will be fingers that are simply side by side within your understanding of the time frame, and as such, you will create counterpart bodies which will appear to you to be separate consciousnesses, separate individuals, which will be connected to your whole soul self. And as such, another extension of the same soul which has extended into what you perceive yourself to be as a singular personality.
Go on forever.
There is no time. It is all happening right now. Isn't? But realize that there is no idea of never ending if there never was a beginning. Do you follow me?
I do. That's very exciting.
All right. Allow yourself to know that you are aligned with an idea and an effect which has been created for you that will always lead you to more of yourself in that way. For your own unfoldment.
So,
what? If it was so mind-boggling, why did you do it in the first place?
Why did I create it in the first place?
Yes.
It's very exciting.
Very good. That is exactly why. Question.
Yes, I just
One moment. Yes.
The civil philosophies here on Earth say it's best to rid yourself of the physical universe and dependency upon it, so that you no longer have physical form. Is that good or bad or
right now, understand there is no good, there is no bad in that way. Also understand that you can never really rid yourself of anything, since there is no outside place to rid it to. Follow me. Any idea once created in the idea of all that is always exists within all that is. And as such, there is no outside to all that is to put anything. And since you are all that is, it will always be within you. Simply, it will be a matter of your focus. Now, there is that idea simply stemming from, I'll say, the purpose of the creation of physical reality as the experience of limited viewpoint. And as such, you have simply assumed that to experience, I'll say, a less limited viewpoint is better. But really, there is no better. Every experience is, for the purpose it was created, exactly the best experience it can be. And therefore, it is a judgment to assume that it is the idea that you are making a comparison between a lesser reality and a greater reality. It is simply the idea of different realities which are created for varying purposes of the unfoldment of yourself, and as such realize that many of what you term to be the diseases created within your physical reality stems from the assumption that your physical reality is somehow less worthy than a spiritual one. And as such, it will very accurately reflect that degree of unworthiness and fragility and create dis-ease. Yes?
Yes, well, you answered my question that my father was being a guide at this time to help, to give me support or whatever. I perceived you were sitting there either looking at something or waiting. Something was going on and I didn't quite get it and my attention stuck on it.
Thank you. Question.
I came into this body with many gifts. I took the body over after, my parents had raised it nicely. I feel a lot of loyalty to this body's parents. Also, I feel a lot of loyalty to my people. I am a Scientology auditor for 30-some years. I'm going off into other areas now. Many of the gifts I have, such as, I was just telling some people here, I can talk to plants or anything I care to talk to, I can communicate back and forth with. I also can heal, just by using energy, such as energy I feel from you. Wow, I just have to say this energy I'm feeling from you is very loving. And I can take it and just pass it on and on and on. Anyway, that's aside from the point. But what my question is I am having to decide now on what coast I'm going to be, the East Coast or the West Coast. I have loyalties on both coasts. And my mission here is to help people become more aware of themselves and to grow and to expand and to become better. Now, I don't know the answer to what coast I should go, and I have come here today. I know I've been guided here.
All right.
And help me.
Now, allow me first of all to say, for you said you could speak to anything and get an answer.
Yes.
What about yourself?
Yes, and I've done that with myself. I have so many dimensions to myself.
All right. Do not allow yourself to be confused. Simply understand again that you are always going to unfold according to the purpose for which you have created your existence within this dimension of reality, exactly as you need to. Also understand that, as you say, the idea of sharing your reality with other individuals will again always be in accord with the timing concerned within every individual's interaction within that reality. You will not have to preach to anyone. Understand, therefore, that you will always, when you simply allow yourself to continue to be that reality for yourself, be serving all the other individuals within your reality in the best possible way that you can by providing for them a reflection of that universe, of that reality that you know yourself to be, and therefore allowing them the best possible opportunity to share that reality if they choose to.
Okay, I have been hiding my light, so to speak. I have been operating on this plane, observing how people act, and then I've been trying to act according to how they act, so they won't really know that I can read their minds and do all this sort of stuff I do.
What purpose did that serve for you?
I think so I could duplicate what their reality was, so I could raise them up to a higher level.
All right. Now, understand again.
Doing it.
All right, then change. Live your reality, the one that you perceive to be the real reality for you.
Would it be overwhelming others if I
No. Again, understand.
Yeah.
They will not perceive your reality except upon the level at which they wish to share it, according to their own purpose of unfoldment. Realize you can control no one.
So, then I can go out and be as much of a witch as I want.
Now understand, you will be creating for yourself exactly within your reality any idea that you perceive yourself to be, but understand you will be creating it for yourself. Therefore, I will say, if to you the idea of, as you say, being a witch creates the idea of control and power and judgment and discomfort, then you will be creating all those ideas within your own universe and experience them for you, not anyone else.
I don't have that viewpoint. I'm very playful.
All right.
You know, and a bit mischievous.
All right,
but
so are
only
we.
to bring people, it's only to make people on a higher emotional level.
One moment, please. Again, understand. The idea you have expressed as a mission can never be achieved by making people do anything.
I agree. That's true.
Now understand, again, you will always be allowing any individual who wishes to share your reality to do so if you simply live your reality for yourself, not for them.
All right.
Otherwise, you will be taking responsibility for them, and as such, you will be denying responsibility to your own reality, and as such, you will then be equal only to, I'll say, an idea which will constantly allow them to feel that you have nothing to share.
Yes, I realize what I've been doing is I've been telepathically, well, not, I don't even like to use that word, but I communicate to them on a level that they're not always aware that I'm communicating to them.
Oh, they are.
Oh, okay.
Understand again, they are aware exactly to the degree they need to be on whatever level serves their own purpose. Again, understand with regard to the idea of your mission, there is not only one way. If there were only one way, there would only be one person. Live your life for yourself. Then you will have something to share with these other individuals when they choose to share with you. Understand, they have just as valid a reality that you can share with them.
This lives my life for myself. That isn't why I'm here.
Oh, yes, it is. Again, understand the idea of the paradox. You will be doing service to the entire mass consciousness by providing them with an example by living it yourself, not living it for them. If you live it for them, you will not be being yourself, and as such, they will not be able to find you.
I gotcha. Okay.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Then realize you will not need to tell anyone anything. You will be your own best example by simply being that life. Then you will find all those individuals who wish to share that reality being attracted to you and saying, "Hey, how come you are having so much fun? I would like to have some of that fun too." Then you can say, "What? This is how I choose to have fun. Now for me this is fun. Maybe it won't be fun for you. Maybe you can invent your own version of my idea so you can have fun within the reality you have chosen." Always understand that within any idea of service, there will first and foremost always be to any other individual the provision of simply being a reflection of their own reality and allowing them to unfold within themselves to understand their own empowerment. You will not be providing them with anything that they do not already have. You will simply, by acting as a mirror of those parts of themselves which can enjoy themselves on that level, be providing them with that reflection that then, I'll say, they may wish to choose for themselves. But the only way you will do that is by living your own life that way and not being concerned for them.
Okay.
Otherwise, you are impressing judgment upon the idea of comparing what you think you have to what you think they have. And as such, you will be creating more and more separation between yourself and the ideas you truly wish to manifest upon your world.
Point very well taken.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, but wait a minute. I have a question. But you said when somebody's having fun and people are attracted to them, isn't that a form of judgment?
Not really.
Are they saying, well, why am I not having that much fun?
They are judging themselves.
Right.
All right, but understand simply that if you are providing the idea within your own life that you are not there having fun to show them that they are not having fun, you will simply be having fun for yourself. And simply when those individuals who choose to understand that they have been creating for themselves a reality that they do not like, may, within the example that you provide for yourself, choose to get an idea of how they may create a reality which they do like.
Oh, so in that case, judgment is important.
In a sense. Understand that, I'll say, in your terms, objective comparison between the idea of one reality that you really wish to do and a reality that you do not will be a form of objective comparison. But when you realize that each reality was valid for the purpose that it served, then simply you will not, I'll say, create the idea of the judgment between the ideas and will allow you to transform more readily into the other reality.
It just allows the transformation.
Yes.
And the blending.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Good.
Is that what you mean by being transparent?
In a sense. Understand that one other idea represented by that terminology simply will be that every situation, every idea, every undertaking, every interaction that you create within your reality will be felt overall to add again to the overall momentum of your original idea of yourself, rather than being viewed as an interruption. You follow me? Yes.
This is just great. It really is.
We're having fun in this conversation.
We're having fun over here too.
Who else is having fun?
It feels great.
Very much.
I have a question.
Yes.
I'd like to know your understanding of one of the terms that you use of all there is, which is the unconsciousness part.
All right. Again, simply, when you create the idea of limited focus, you will form a separation between, I'll say, your consciousness, so that you create an outer aware ego consciousness, and a portion of your consciousness that you consider to be unconscious. That is, it will not seem to directly interact within what you perceive to be your physical dimensionality, except in that it will be for you a reflective state of being that will, in some ways, parallel the ideas you are expressing within your physical dimensionality, but will carry within, I'll say, itself a parallel dimension of existence that you will be simultaneously experiencing, so that you may, I'll say, at some point understand that you can limit and learn at the same time, and to some degree form the idea that within the extension of the limitation there will be also that idea of the reblending and the integration which is now taking place within your mass consciousness.
So, in actuality, the word unconscious is a misnomer.
In a sense, understand that you are one consciousness. When you create the idea of separation within your consciousness, then you give rise to all of the different limited viewpoints that your consciousness can achieve.
So, in other words, like hyperconsciousness, subconsciousness, the different ones that you mentioned, it's one idea, it's one game to play, or one could learn from all now.
Yes, in a sense.
Okay.
Question.
Thank you. I'd like to say something.
Oh, right.
Excuse me. First, I wanted to thank her. We had a lot of fun out of that, and I feel a lot of love from her, and I just want to say that. Good job.
Thank you.
And the other thing I want to say, I wanted to share something that happened with me a couple nights ago in my dream state, and it was basically two ideas, I just have to say ideas that was like symbolized by one culture that was militaristic and logical, and thought in very logical terms. They were not evil intentioned at all, but because they were only thinking in logical terms and not allowing their intuition to come through, they had created this fear of, well, this fear totally of their environment, but specifically this other culture, which was an animal culture, you could say a nature culture. And the animal, of course, nature culture was very much in harmony with nature and was not a threat in any way. But the logical culture had created them as being dangerous. And not only them, but just in general, they just created a dangerousness about their environment. And so they had created this military sort of culture in which they had built up weapons. And the symbology that was coming across at that point was weapons that could fire so easily, you know, like at the turn of a head or the blink of an eye, that they were accidentally shooting each other and whatnot, you know. And, you know, tearing tails and different things. And so, anyway, there was kind of a meeting, a mass meeting called, and all these militaristic types, again, they were not evil intended at all, they were just sort of naive a little bit about the way the world really, you know, about that broader reality. And they called this meeting, it was very packed in, there was a feeling of physical closeness, so I went outside, I said, I got to get some air, and I went out, kind of stepped out into the other reality, the other dimension that had this animal culture, you know, and something occurred there, you know, so that I went with like sort of a transformation was occurring, but the idea was starting to be, you know, the logical minds, the militaristic minds were starting slightly to the idea of the possibility that these animals didn't have to be shot on sight, and that it wasn't like that just the vaguest possibility that there wasn't a danger there, or maybe not quite as much as they thought. And then in the middle of the meeting, an animal ran through, one that was particularly feared and particularly supposed to be real devastating and dangerous to them. And he just ran through. He didn't cause any harm, and he kind of did it so fast that nobody could get their weapons going or think about it, you know. And it was just that idea starting to unfold, and at the end of it, sitting there in the meeting was a polar bear lying across, just kind of lounging on the bed, you know, like a dog will when he really owns the place, you know. Just lounging with his big white fluffy fur, and I was just scratching it, you know, like you scratch a dog, and it was just everything was very peaceful, and the military logical type culture was starting to open up to the fact. The best part of that was that they took away the safety point, and they allowed.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Now, I will say thank you for, I'll say, channeling back and forth between the left and right hemispheres of your brain, between your logic and your intuitiveness, between your thinking and your feeling portion of yourself, and creating very beautiful symbology that is integrating into your reality, and as such becoming the reality of the mass consciousness. And for representing to yourself the symbol, as you perceive it, of the, I'll say, infinite wisdom of yourself, in having done so in a quite loving manner. Again, we will thank you for sharing that aspect of your mass consciousness with us at this time, as it will allow us, again, to perceive that that is your reality, your mass conscious reality, and as such will be the parallel and the extension of the future selves that you are already becoming. Thank you very much. Question?
Yeah, I was wondering, Bashar, can you see us physically in this room?
I sense you.
I'll try another question. I've done work with S and Werner Erhard, and a lot of the things, even the terminology, a lot of the ideas and feelings that I'm getting from you, and even the verbiage, like words like transformation and empowerment, I've heard from these sessions these previous sessions. A lot of it is very familiar to me. I'm wondering if, in fact, Werner Erhard is influenced or...
Not really. Simply, there is now simply the concurrence within your own mass consciousness to also recognize that these ideas, and as such, that is why we can interact with you in this way. You are now equal to those ideas. As we have said, once you become equal to the vibration of an idea and all of the, I'll say, attendant viewpoints that create that idea, always there will be that facet of consciousness, whether you perceive it to be of your own world or not, that is able to interact upon that level, and as such you are now equal to that level of consciousness, and as such we are equal to that level of consciousness in interacting with you on that way. So I will say, thank you.
Thank you.
Question?
Yes. During a counseling session this past week, I felt a moment of very strong moment of the beginning of channeling and transformation, trance, or what seemed like a moment of unconsciousness, although I know it's just an energy shift.
Yes.
What could you give me any more enlightenment as to how I can utilize that, or
simply you have utilized it. It was part of the transformation, part of the doorway.
Okay.
Question.
Sure. What I keep hearing the term transformation, and I'm not familiar with it in the sense that we're using it in this room. Could you explain it?
You have expressed the idea that you feel that your mass consciousness, that is the entirety of the consciousness of your own civilization upon your planet at this time, is undergoing a change from one idea of itself to another idea of itself. You have expressed this idea in terms of what you call old and new age awareness. That is the transformational doorway. The, in a sense, in your terms, step up of vibration from one idea of yourself to another idea of yourself that you are experiencing at this time and will manifest physically. I will say to a degree the beginnings of that idea and reality which are ongoing at this time, but I will say more strongly within 20 to 30 of your years of time, as you know, time to exist. As your entire consciousness steps through that doorway and ends one idea or cycle of itself, which is now being, I will say, transformed into a positive manner, whereas before, I will say you experienced the polarity of the idea by the transformation being, in your terms, a negative effect. This was connected to some degree in that, I will say, occurrence you have experienced within your idea of what you term to be Atlantis.
That was the negative?
In a sense.
Because it disappeared and
yes.
destroyed itself.
Now, you are much at the same point again. Your same choices. However, allow me to say that at this time, though you always have free will, you have understood the creation of your cycle in such a way, of your pattern in such a way, that you have chosen to create a transformation now in a positive way, rather than a destructive manner. Question.
I have a question that people are wearing crystals around their necks because they have an energy force, and some of the rumor I heard was that these crystals were brought from the civilization of Atlantis, because at the time the whole civilization was run off the energy of these crystals that were positioned, I think, at 4 different places, and somehow one of these crystals has been brought here on this planet. It's been brought here in present time and being cut up and used. Can you give me any information?
It has not been cut off. Understand that it still exists intact. As such, you will be simply identifying with the symbol of the idea of those, I'll say, crystals' usage and the understanding within the individuals at this time, reincarnated as they are from Atlantis, of that idea and that energy. They will be identifying with that technology once again. Question.
The gurus, the gurus in India, there are many people with many gifts in India, and have been for thousands of years. What do they? Are they part of the transformation, or what?
Your entire planet will undergo its transformation. Understand that each mass consciousness within the overall mass consciousness of your entire planet will undergo the transformation in its own understanding of itself. And each individual within each mass consciousness, within the overall mass consciousness, will undergo the transformation in their, he or she, understanding of themselves. But all, in a sense, are passing through that doorway at this time. Question? Yes. One moment. Yes.
I just suddenly had an interesting idea about mass consciousness. I look at the different ones, so to speak, like yours, the Syrians. There are a few others that you've mentioned, and in fact, they seem like individual types of ideas to me.
All right.
Like, for instance, there's like in all there is, there's these different ideas, and the idea will break up into all the facets that it can possibly break up into, and we are actually just individually, each of us, one of those facets, and we have free will and free creativity. But as a whole, we are this mass consciousness, separate from yours and others.
Anything.
And
we are also all the same consciousness.
yes, I understand that, but different to the degree that you've gone a different direction, and so
Yes.
so it just seems rather interesting to me as such how I, as one facet of that, can actually be in tune with and affect the entire mass consciousness,
yes.
and so can all of the others.
Yes.
And it's like sometimes I feel that I'm it, all
Yes.
of it. There is no separation.
Very good.
And then other times I can like shift my focal point, and I am a facet of that idea, and that idea is unfolding and going in the direction that it's going, and so is yours, and ours will never be exactly yours, and to that degree, because that's just not how the plan is.
Thank you. Very good.
But it's kind of real exciting.
Very good. Then you may sound excited.
I'm excited.
Thank you. Yes.
As you speak, I can feel that there are three of you here. I can feel the channeling down through this body, but also I feel two others, and I have a question like, are there three of you here, or?
In a sense, you are perceiving again the idea of the triad in which we function. Always there being, I'll say, the two counterparts who shall be channeling to the third upon any particular planet.
I see. I'm new. I've never come to this before.
All right.
I
Understand that I will have, I'll say, that female, as you would say, assistant, but associate would be more appropriate. And I will assist her and associate with her. She has called herself Anima. Now understand that with regard to the channel that you perceive before you physically, this channel physically forms the third in the link of the triad between ourselves and your planet in one aspect. Understand there are two other physical channels also with whom we form triads from our civilization to yours. Therefore there being a total of three physical channels, each of them forming their own physical triad upon your planet. Always we will find within our own understanding of our own consciousness that the triad formation of every endeavor in that way will always be, I'll say, the minimum structure and the strongest minimum structure needed to express any idea. Thank you.
I appreciate that. The other associate, Anima, I've heard her speak, and I still never have, for myself, come to a realization about it. Like, you have a body on your planet, or in your spaceship you were talking about, you have an actual body of your own. Does Anima also?
Yes.
Okay, and so that portion of her that she's blending with that portion of you is what is doing the channeling?
Now, to a degree, you will find that there will be, from time to time, an equal blending. From time to time, there will be, as you perceive it, more one than the other of us. Always, however, in the connected triad is always the energy of support lent to the interaction of that triad in whatever phase or degree of interaction that takes place. Question?
Some civilizations more than do, in a sense. It's like when I come here, you're usually speaking.
All right. Again, understand within our sense of timing, we will be doing an equal share, as you say.
Later on?
Right now.
She's doing equal much as you are now.
Realize that she is also involved with other of the channels. And also we are both involved with other channels in other civilizations.
I know, but right here and now is...
that is your right here and right now.
I know, but right in this room right here now. Most of the time that I've come here on Sunday, I've heard your voice.
All right. Understand that, again, there is a purpose within the unfoldment, in a sense, of all that occurs, particularly within the unfoldment of the channel, in the sense of blending with what we have described to be the idea of future self. Therefore, also understand that at this time there will be in your terms within that experience more opportunity for, in a sense, Animal's past self to form a connection with her own future self as she exists also with your physical civilization right here and right now.
Okay, does that go Carol?
Yes.
Carol into future self?
Past.
Oh yeah, well, whatever. Also, when Carol somewhat develops, then she'll take over that duty then? Or
not really, not in the same way. Understand again that there is simply much in the way of interaction between ourselves and many other individuals in many different ways. And again, what you perceive to be unfolding in your way right now, according to how you place events in time, will seem to you to be, I will say, a perception of more of one personality than another. But allow us to say that when viewed within the overall aspect of all the interactions that, in your terms, will take place, are taking place, and have taken place, we will, in your terms, put in an equal amount of time. Question?
Yeah. Is Daryl your past self?
In a sense.
Okay, but what about the other channels? Them too, huh?
In a sense.
Okay, what do you mean by in a sense, Bashar?
Simply that for the understanding, there is not really a complete, I'll say, translation available in your terminology. You may view the idea in terms of counterpart selves, and therefore all of those past selves can be past selves, while at the same time they can be parallel selves as well. Therefore, in a sense.
There could be many.
Yes.
Many in art.
Yes.
Question.
Yes.
All right.
I'm interested in different civilizations, and I read a book once that it was written in such a way that I could catch glimpses of their reality, and I was wondering if you could do that for us, get across an idea that was not of our reality, but yet understandable at a glimpse. Do you know what I mean?
That will be, as you say, possible, depending upon the degree to which you have allowed your own reality to be, I'll say, connected to all other realities. You follow me?
Yes.
One moment. Are you through?
That was my question.
All right.
Thank you. There's other beings channeling also on the planet. Some are one's called Lazarus, and others called Dr. Peebles. By any chance, do you know them, or do they know you?
We are somewhat familiar, yes.
And your purposes are pretty much all the same, to enlighten your team.
To allow all of you to know that you are already as enlightened as you ever will be.
I was going to ask, were there other people besides yourself who will be visiting this planet?
Oh, there are. Question.
Quick question. Okay, I've been doing some channeling from my spirit guides, and right now I feel some energy moving through me, and I was curious if this was from my spirit guides or something from you, or I'm not sure where it's coming from.
Does it matter?
No, not really.
What is the effect?
Movement of my head, relaxation.
And the mental effect?
Kind of a tuning in, kind of
and the spiritual effect?
a lightening up.
All right. Thank you. Yes.
Bashar, you may answer this or not as you choose. I've wanted to ask you this question for quite some time, and I feel that if you do give, well, you will give an answer. Okay, I'll just ask it. You're here, in effect, communicating with us like as a mirror, which you've said, and I find it very beneficial, and I enjoy it very much. And you have mentioned that you are also in communication with other individuals in the Sirius constellation or area who are slightly different and see things a bit differently. And it's like, having been here now for a while, you see like the types of questions that we ask. I'm very curious as to, like, if you would give me an example of a question that you would ask them. You know, just so I can know you better. I would love that very much.
Now, first of all, allow me to say that in your terms, as you say, the interactions that we have with them will be more in the form of, I'll say, identification of concepts rather than, in your terms, questions. Therefore, simply, there will be the idea of the exchange of concepts, and as such, there will be the, I'll say, perception of a concept within our reality, and there will be then the understanding, always immediately, that there is the experience of those concepts within various realities in a different way, as you say. Then, questions in your terms to them will simply be the idea that, I will say, the sharing of that idea will produce these differences, and as such, will there be a range of this experience which will be identifiable at this time with various portions of our consciousness, various portions of your consciousness, that will increase the understanding of the overall mass consciousness which we share from your viewpoint. Therefore, understand that questions, as you say, will simply be the degree of willingness to participate within any other individual's perspective of themselves, with any idea that you also have a portion of.
So in doing that, it's like you, it just sort of takes some of the V off the line. Words are like a V. But in other words, you experience that, and then that becomes a part of your experience, and then that's just something that you share.
In a sense, understand again that we simply realize that the formation of what you term to be a question is, in a sense, indicative of the experience already in existence, and as such, we simply allow ourselves, in the instant of the formulation, to also create the experience, and as such, really never perceive exactly the question in the manner that you perceive it. There is simply an exploration, an extension, and in the extension there is the experiencing. It is the extension itself which forms the question, but we do not perceive it as a question in terms of the separation of that question from the experience itself, or the reason for the extension.
So you formulate a concept, and and you like share it with them.
In a sense.
And they may share one with you, or
all right.
Is that what you're meaning? I really do.
In much the same way that we are sharing reality right now, but again, there will be simply, I'll say, not so much the idea of a separation between the asking of the question and the experiencing of the reason behind the question, with the idea of the transparency for why the question was asked, why the extension was formed in the first place, will be very clearly understood, and therefore will simply be allowed to experience the result of the extension of ourselves into that new idea.
So they're so in other words, they're just in a situation like that, they're just being there, allowing you to use that medium to explore yourself more.
Very good.
That's beautiful.
Now, that is what we are, in a sense, doing also with you.
Yes, I understand that. Just a different method.
Yes.
Yeah.
Understand that civilization, for itself, already considers itself to be, while also individuals, one consciousness, and may experientially partake of that entire singular consciousness through each individual. And also, they have formulated for themselves as a tool the idea which exists within your brain, within the, I'll say, representational idea of the merging of the two hemispheres, that black hole, that gateway, that doorway, into many other levels of dimensionality and reality. They have formed for themselves, I'll say, actually upon their planet, in a sense, within their system, in a sense, that gateway through which they may project their collective consciousness into other dimensions of reality, and so explore that idea as well.
Oh, wow.
In preparation for their own, I would say, transformation into another dimension of reality altogether.
Right. So there's
through the whole, this whole to other realities and everything. Well, we can too.
Yes.
So is the main difference just the fact that they're all orchestrated so that they're doing it together?
In a sense, and they are consciously willing.
Yeah, it's just on tap anytime.
Yes. Thank you. Question? Yes?
Why is it, since somebody's taking our place,
not taking your place,
somebody's going to be stepping into our shoes,
so to speak,
they would be finding out or expressing completely different ideas than what we've done, would they not?
they will have their variations of similar experiences.
The idea that once an expression has been expressed by the all that is, it's not necessary to do that again?
In a sense, it will be always variations of itself. Each and every idea being complete in and of itself will be done once. What is always being done?
The idea of this planet being the ones who lucky job of experiencing religion, for instance, it won't be necessary for other civilizations to express that because we've gone through.
They will experience, I'll say, manifestations of that idea, but there would be no point in experiencing it, I'll say, exactly the same way.
Oh, right.
Otherwise, they would be you.
Right.
And in that way, that is how they are, you. Okay. Question.
Why are we not... Bashar, my name is Marcia. I'd like to know why we are not taking... Are we in fact taking the mass consciousness of our planet with us through our exploration of these other realities?
Where would you leave it?
Well, it sounded earlier as if the planet that is advanced beyond your planet takes. It just sounded as if they're
consciously willing to know that they are always connected to their mass consciousness, no matter, in your terms, where they go, since they know they are not really going anywhere. And that there is no outside of all that is, to which they perceive themselves always to be connected.
So that's no different from what we experience here.
The only difference, as you say, is that they are conscious in the doing. As you will be. Question.
Earlier when I mentioned like the physical universe as we perceive it at this moment in time in all of the other galaxies and the obvious other civilizations that exist on them are in effect going through their own experience and transformations of other ideas.
Yes.
That seems to be true.
And the variations of ideas with which you are somewhat familiar as well.
But slightly different.
Yes. That is why they are, in your terms, a different civilization, by definition.
Yes. And then in the other dimension, so to speak, which are completely other different realities that aren't based on physicalness as this is. Different type of reality, yes. Of different type of...
Can be different type of physicalness as well.
Yes. But there are all of those separate ideas doing the same thing.
Yes. Is it not wonderful?
It's more wonderful than I can describe to you.
Thank you. You have described it perfectly then.
Thank you. Okay, beautifully.
Question. Bashar, if we are all that is, and at some point we didn't separate ourselves into facts we forgot about or whatever, is the ultimate goal of everyone in all the universes to go back to that moment?
There is no going back.
Or not going, but to reinstate that time when
there is no reinstating.
Allowing.
It is not even really a matter in terms of allowance with regard to the idea that you are on some, I'll say, trek through time. Understand that you will always be unfolding. Always. And as such, there will be, as you say, portions of your consciousness which will recognize your connection in various ways. Understand that even the idea of forming all the different various methods with which to recognize yourself as all that is only one complete other idea of forming that collective recognition, and there will be an infinite variety of those groupings.
Yeah, it's sort of interesting because I realized you can't not exist. I mean,
very good.
I mean, and so maybe just not to get bored, you created that something to experience that, since you knew you could never be that, just for the sport of it.
Again, understand one idea of, as you say, boredom. Realize that from time to time, you will simply remind yourself that you will never give yourself more than you can handle within the idea that you are expressing at that time, and as such, you will always be able to unlock yourself from any particular experience of unfoldment that you have created, and as such, you will always know you are quite in control. Sometimes you will hang around and experience the unlocking device itself, and sometimes you may simply experience it to such a degree that you will become bored. But again, you are always able to create within that idea, again, of boredom, its own sense of locking and unlocking. Its own inner dimension of reality, its own, I would say, multitude of levels of experience, its own sense of imagination, its own sense of dream reality, its own sense of all the levels of consciousness that you exist as. Every idea, again, is in and of itself a completely separate universe. Realize you do not have a universe into which you interject different ideas and therefore slightly alter that one universe. That is a completely different universe. Being a completely different idea. Universe with a, universe without a. Two completely universes. Question.
I have a comment.
All right.
Your idea, it's not your idea, but when you said to the young lady here about we are always unfolding, and I just wanted to say when you said that, I just got the most marvelous concept about what a super wonderful, marvelous game we're playing. It's just so exciting, and I just wish everyone could get the excitement of it. I find it very exciting.
Thank you. It is very exciting. I am very happy that you find it very exciting. Understand that everyone will be just as excited as they wish to be.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes.
Just exploring a little bit more about these the various ideas, various universes, various levels of reality. It's like now, it's like now at this point I am aware that that is going on, that exists. At this moment in time, I also am limiting my view of all of those others, although just the concept that I could experience them means that I can.
All right. Thank you.
Which is really exciting too. It's like another game in itself.
All right. Thank you. Question.
Yes. Bashar, do we in fact create our reality through the spoken word?
Can be one way, yes. Understand that simply that represents the degree, since you have chosen that to be your main form of, I'll say, idea communication, it represents, I'll say, the degree to which you are willing to show conviction of your own ideas.
Which actually brings forth our ideas.
Which releases it into the mass consciousness. Yes. Very good.
Thank you.
Make a statement. I will make a statement.
Thank you. That was a very good statement. You wish to make another statement?
I think I can, yes.
Right.
I'll give a noble attempt. I just realized that we are all vibrating simultaneously, not in the sense of time, but on every level, infinite. And I had this crazy idea that this lifetime here, I was bringing up the rear on everything. All the goodies were ahead of me, And I just realized that in this civilization that is approximately 300 years behind us, that I have an existence there, and then I have an existence before that one,
very good,
and before that one, and on and on and on and on and on.
Very good.
Somewhere I'm a very happy amoeba. In a sense, yeah, in a sense. Well, cheerful.
Not that you are not happy. In a sense, the amoeba. But only in a sense.
Right. I understand that.
Question.
Yeah, I have a question. Yeah.
Very creative.
On your planet, I mean, your civilization.
Take your time.
Okay. Advanced. Okay. You know, the idea of the Syrian, quote-unquote, civilization that they can really experience their whole mass consciousness as themselves, as one. Is your civilization, I kind of thought that your civilization had that, but not quite. You can tap in.
Yes.
But can you tell me more about that? Like how you do that, or, you know, what it feels like, or whatever.
Now, allow me to say, in your experience, it feels very much like dreaming.
Okay.
But you know you are dreaming.
You just kind of let go a little bit and then feel what the whole...
You understand and you know that your dream reality and your imagination reality and your physical reality are simply different facets of the same reality. And as such, each experience and each identification and each perception of all those different levels are equally valid. And as such, they will become each real experiences to unfold.
But so you can just pretty well trust that everything you do is just fitting in perfectly with the rest of your civilization.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Question?
I was reading a book by Elizabeth Heitch, and she recalled a lifetime in Egypt so many years ago that they used lions for their chariots instead of horses because horses hadn't evolved. And she said that the race at that time the shape of their heads was elongated, and I was wondering, and they were called the sons of God, and I was wondering if they were another planet which had come to Earth to help Earth or colonize Earth or something like that, and they were different from the rest of Earth, which had round heads. And I was just wondering if that was the case, if they...
We will discuss much of those ideas another time.
All right. Bashar, do you have animals on your planet?
Oh, yes.
And plants and trees?
Oh, yes.
So does the planet, in fact, look very similar to ours?
Similar.
I have a quick question.
Are you sure?
Yes, I am. Thanks.
Is it true that in the pyramids of Egypt there are computers 500 feet underneath of them that were used to guide these beings from another planet to guide their ships in at one point in history?
I will say, first of all, that the idea is not computer as you understand the idea. There are, at various portions, I'll say, around your planet, within certain structures, natural and, as you say, artificial, systems, which represent, in your terms, beacons, in a way, for the purpose of the alignment of all the energy vortices upon your planet, which act as the planet's chakra points, and form that energy network through which, I'll say, as you say, interstellar transportation may more easily be aligned. To a degree, yes.
And the other question was, who built the pyramid?
Now, you will find that, to a degree, that idea will be most clearly represented by, again, that civilization you term to be Atlantean. With regard to the pyramids of what you term to be the highest technology, those being the oldest. Many of those not expressing the same degree, I'll say, of understanding, will be simply representations built in your terms after the knowledge was, in a sense, lost.
You mean a few people had recall on it, and they're the ones who helped to build it?
In a sense, there were direct, I'll say, activities of individuals directly descended from Atlantis and existing at the time.
But the thing that has my curiosity is they're so perfectly made, each one, and the angles and so forth, but they didn't have the equipment then.
Oh, yes. They did. But understand they did not need certain of the tools that you feel you need. They had other tools.
Could you mention what they might have been?
You may understand, first of all, that within the idea as expressed by those crystals, they had the sense of creating through what you term to be photonic and sonic vibration, the idea of no gravity. They were able to float much of the stone into place.
I have had attention on that before. That's what it was.
In your terms, and is being right now, in your terms, rediscovered.
Thank you.
So, Bashar, is that in fact the situation on your planet? Do you have, is that how you're able to move things?
Much in the same way. Understand that within the construction, as you say, of our spacecraft, and even in their function, there is much the same idea or principle.
So how about the degree of oxygen available? And I'm looking at what the possibilities are for us to visit your planet in a physical form.
You would, with very, very, I'll say, very slight adjustment, be able to exist there quite fine.
Wow.
Understand that within the traveling, as you understand traveling from one planet to another, one civilization to another, there is always an adjustment that takes place anyway in matching the vibration of that idea. Otherwise, you would not experience it if you stayed within the vibration of what you perceive to be your own physical universe. Particularly when you express the idea of another civilization as that being advanced of your own. Therefore, understand that in a very real way, that civilization, in that you have always the tendency to place the idea of advancement within the future, will exist to a degree within what you term to be the future. But in traveling from one planet to another, in having made the adjustment, you would not know the difference and would perceive it to be the present. And for all intents and purposes, it would be so.
And from my understanding, that has been done by people on your planet to our planet quite a bit, right?
Yes. Other civilizations, more.
From other civilizations to our planet?
Yes.
And how about us to other planets? How often?
Very limited at this time.
But it is being done from beings on our planet.
So
what would we know who we are? We would know who we are.
Yes.
and
one moment. Yes.
So in fact, does the channel move on to another, to your planet or other planets? What happens to the channel?
Now understand that there is much more in the way of that, I'll say, exchange or interaction within your dream and imagination or reality at this time than your physical reality. They are still real. There will be more physical interaction as well within your future. Follow me.
Not really.
Understand that when you turn to be, the visitation of various planets takes place quite often within your dream reality and your imagination reality.
Yes. Right.
They are real, and they are real interactions. But there will also be, as you manifest the idea of your dream and imagination reality upon your physical reality, more physical interaction as well. Therefore, there have been many interactions on the dream and imagination level. There have been few interactions from your planet to others on the physical level. Follow me?
I do.
Thank you.
And in fact, being that we know that in the 40s there has been a physical visitation in the late 40s from other beings on another planet.
There have been many.
Yes. Have there been?
There still are.
And are there from your planet?
Not so much.
But there have been
Few.
in our.
I will say the idea expressed by the vibration of our civilization will be more concurrent with yours again within 9 or 8 years. There will be other civilizations first, and are other civilizations first.
But you have not actually visited us physically in our
We
vibration.
have.
You have.
But very rarely. And many times there is, in your terms, no landing.
Oh, that's right. I see.
One moment.
Yes, I wanted to ask you, I know you've talked about the function that different races play, that what they're evolving and how we reflect off them, in terms of the Mayans, the Banians, Black people, and things like that. Are the Filipinos from Lemuria? Are they descendants of the Lemurians?
Now, allow me to say that to some degree we have expressed, again, this idea before in your terms of time, that there is, to some degree, some of that interaction. To some degree, there is also, I'll say, some of the idea which is shared by what you term to be that, I'll say, Hopi civilization. As they all stemmed from that idea of Lemuria. There will be a few more of your minutes' time.
Can I ask you a question?
Are you through?
No, I just want, so, to a certain extent, are the people who live in Mexico right now, are they sort of like descendants, they're descendants from the Mayan and Aztec civilizations?
To a degree.
That's all.
Back to the pyramids. When they were building them, wasn't that a bit shocking to those whose awareness is low to see these things, squares?
Understand, first of all, there was much in the way of interaction and trade between various civilizations at the time. More than you realize.
Oh. It was sort of like a Mecca where civilizations came and went?
In a sense. Understand that there was to some degree the cessation of that idea when there was, I'll say in those times, the idea of those individuals who took it upon themselves to gain power by force.
Was the desert at that time green and flourishing?
Portions. Allow me to say, once again, that in terms of all the ideas that you have been experiencing within your reality, they are all a portion of your overall unfoldment of yourself within exactly the proper timing that you have ordained for the purpose you have created for yourself to experience within physical dimensionality. Simply allow yourself the freedom to feel all of these experiences in the, I'll say, exciting way that you have created them. Allow yourself to know that you have created all your experiences out of your own understanding and self-love. And as such, you have created and always will create all the ideas necessary to be attracted to your reality, which will, I'll say, continue the momentum of the unfoldment in the most beneficial way possible for all concerned. I will thank you very much. I will say good night.
Good night. Thank you.